Hello friends, in this video I'm going to talk about Kundalini. It is my belief the reason why serpent symbolism is so prevalent in all the ancient cultures and myths is that it's all referring to this energy in yoga called Kundalini. In my previous video I go over serpent symbolism in depth and show how it's literally found in all ancient myths and cultures. Pretty fascinating. And Kundalini is a term found in yoga, and yoga today, what we see, is very different from its ancient practice. What do you think of when you hear yoga? Probably downward dog and comfortable stretchy pants, right? But its original intended purpose wasn't for just a killer bod and good flexibility, but it was for enlightenment, union with the cosmos. Yoga literally meaning union or yoke. Yoga is a big subject, but here I'm just going to focus on Kundalini. What is Kundalini? In Kundalini yoga, the goal is to unify the two energies within the body, the male and the female. Here's a quote from Gopi Krishna talking about what Kundalini is. Kundalini represents the cosmic vital energy lying dormant in the human body, which is coiled around the base of the spine, a little below the sexual organ, like a serpent fast asleep and closing with her mouth the aperture of the Sushumna. The hair-like duct rising through the center of the spinal cord to the conscious center at the top of the head. When aroused, Kundalini, they said, rises through the Sushumna like a streak of lightning, carrying with her the vital energy of the body, to join her divine spouse Shiva in the last or seventh center in the brain. In the course of this process, the embodied self, freed from bondage of flesh, passed into a condition of ecstasy known as samadhi, realizing itself as deathless, full of bliss, and one with all-pervading supreme consciousness. And that's from Living with Kundalini, the Autobiography of Gopi Krishna. Joseph Campbell talks a lot about Kundalini as well, and here's a quote from him from the Mythic Image. Kundalini, the figure of a coiled female serpent, a serpent goddess not of gross but of subtle substance, which is to be thought of as residing in a torpid, slumbering state in a subtle center, the first of the seven, near the base of the spine. The aim of the yoga then being to rouse the serpent, lift her head, and bring her up a subtle center, nerve or channel of the spine to the so-called thousand-petaled lotus, or Sahasrara, at the crown of the head. She, rising from the lowest to the highest lotus center, will pass through and wake the five between, and with each wakening, the psychology and personality of the practitioner will be altogether and fundamentally transformed. So in Kundalini Yoga, the goal is to rouse this cosmic energy, this universal goddess that's within everything, that is seen as a form of a snake in yoga in this mythology and symbology, is to wake it up and to have the energy rise up the spine through the chakras, right? And the end goal is to get it to the top of the head, which is where the goddess meets her god, Shiva. So in this process, the goal is to combine the two opposing forces, yin and yang, if you will, or a male and female, in this case Kundalini and Shiva, together into one. In their union, out of their union comes enlightenment, or realization with oneness of the macrocosm with the microcosm. The object is to awaken Kundalini through ritual practices and to enable her ascent up the Sushumna Nadi through the chakra system. When it reaches the topmost chakra, the blissful union of Shiva and Shakti occurs. This leads to a far-reaching transformation of the personality. That is from Sanu Samdasani, from the Psychology of Kundalini Yoga. The purpose of Kundalini Yoga is to reunite Shiva and Shakti, to create the eternal form of Shiva, Sadashiva. Sadashiva's left side is female and the right side is male. The two principles have united but have not yet merged. If they were to merge, that would be the end of the play. Sadashiva exists on the cosmic scale. In an individual, this deity is called Ardhanarishvara, the Lord who is half female. In order to manifest Sadashiva, the Kundalini must be made to fully rise, because the highest manifestation of Shiva in the human body is in the head, the highest part of the body. That is from Svoboda, a book called Kundalini. In the evolution of the yogin, there is always the union of both the man and woman powers. That is from Wilhelm Hauer, The Psychology of Kundalini Yoga. So when we unify these opposing forces within us, everything is unified and union is experienced and remembered. It's very fascinating to me, this imagery of Shiva and Shakti and their union together is the full realization of enlightenment. Because in my own experience, when I had my third eye experience, it felt very much like an orgasm in the center of my head. And a lot of the ancient scriptures talking about this, it speaks of finding your counterpart, right? Your prince or princess, and unifying with them, basically mating with them and experiencing the union. So the symbolism goes hand in hand with that experience of letting go and feeling this orgasmic union together with the energy of the universe. And this quote is from The Law of One, Book 2, page 248. The most important concept to grasp about the energy field is that the lower or negative pole will draw the universal energy into itself from the cosmos. From there, it will move upward to be met and reacted to by the positive spiraling energy moving downward from within. The measure of an entity's level of reactivity is the locus wherein the South Pole outer energy has been met by the inner spiraling positive energy. As an entity grows more polarized, this locus will move upwards. This phenomenon has been called by your peoples the Kundalini. However, it may be better thought of as the meeting place of cosmic and inner, shall we say, vibratory understanding. It is all very mysterious, and I think it's important to remember to let go and to surrender to these and not to fully try to understand it, because it can't be understood. At least that's in my experience. Only when I let go and fully surrender does this energy fill me, and I am humbled by its presence. There's a quote from Lawrence Edwards, PhD. Kundalini is the power of consciousness that allows us to know we are one with God, to know that all others are one with God, and to know that all creation is one with God. Until that power of consciousness is awakened within us, we can't know the truth directly for ourselves. But when it does awaken, transformation of the highest order ensues. Here's another quote from The Law of One, Book 2. The metaphor of the coiled serpent being called upwards is vastly appropriate for consideration by your peoples. This is what you are attempting when you seek. There are, as we have stated, great misapprehensions concerning this metaphor and the nature of pursuing its goal. We have two types of energy. We are attempting then, as entities in any true color of this octave, to move the meeting place of our inner and outer natures further and further along or upward along the energy centers. Meanwhile, the Creator lies within. In the North Pole, the crown is already upon the head, and the entity is potentially a god. This energy is brought into being by the humble and trusting acceptance of this energy through meditation and contemplation of the self and of the Creator. Where these energies meet is where the serpent will have reached its height. When this uncoiled energy approaches universal love and radiant being, the entity is in a state whereby the harvestability of the entity comes nigh. As this quote kind of alludes to, it's only realized in a state of humbleness and allowance of this energy to enter and to rise up. Sure, there is some, it's kind of paradoxical, because sure, there's some self-effort involved. We're reaching, our desire is necessary, but then it's also necessary to completely let go and allow it to blossom and awaken within us. The universal energy is mysterious, and we can't try to comprehend it. We need to let go and let it reveal itself to us. In the handful of heart openings and eye openings that I've had, it's all been in a state of awe and surrender and humility. I don't do any of the openings. I don't move the energy. I literally become like a little kid, start sobbing and let go, and it happens. It's almost like I become a window for it to shine through. And it's always feels amazing, and it's always very humbling and deeply satisfying. It's like something finally comes through that's been waiting to come through. It's a huge release. It's like the dams fall and water comes rushing forth. And I believe my experiences relate to Kundalini just from what I've read. And I share these things to encourage other people to seek for these experiences, because they're amazing. It's like it's like you wake up from the Matrix all of a sudden. You're like, and paradise is suddenly revealed all around you, and this consciousness within you is so like a parent, fatherly, motherly, so loving, so overwhelmingly loving and accepting, that you just feel like an infant, and you look around and everything's made new by this energy. Your perceptions of everything are gone. It's kind of washed clean, and everything's just shining, and the presence is within everything. And you realize the fantasy and dreamlike nature of reality. I think what's important about yoga and Kundalini is that it shows our true potential. And I think we should approach it from the heart, not the head. because it can't be understood mentally. Its mysteries can only be revealed through the heart. Thank you for watching. And if you like it, please like. And if you want to see more videos like these, please subscribe. Thank you.